What's good, everybody? Back once again. And, uh, say it ain't so, say it ain't so from Miss Lizzo. Uh, I was like, another one of them, like, breaking news kind of like out of nowhere, didn't see it coming kind of thing. But I guess most breaking news you don't see coming. So, anyway, um, Lizzo out here getting sued, and you might think like, oh, some small little. It's like, nah, nah. Well, I guess small. Yeah, not small. Yeah, that probably is actually better. But apparently, out here getting sued for pretty much the opposite of things. I guess that she sort of promotes and things like that. I was like, you got several people. I was like coming at her about about I guess like implications about like with the weight and stuff like that. Of you know being like drunk on the job kind of thing, and it's really a mix of like stuff that's like seem like it'll be like sort of small, then stuff that seems like it's like, oh well, that's a little bit serious. But then it's also who she is, not just like the celebrity status, but in general of who she is that makes it even more than what like Lizzo, who's like, I'm a big girl. Nobody treats big girls like anything. They treat us like crap. Nobody really thinks big girls are pretty or good looking and all these things. I want to promote body positivity. You can be whatever size, you can do all your things and all this other stuff. Cool. And then coming out being like, yo, you eating too much and gaining weight, and I can't have that on my thing. And it's kind of like, I get it. I get it. But for her saying it, kind of a little different. Like, I get it. I'm like, just because you are that, like the size you are, you're a big girl. But but if you start gaining weight, then that means that you're going to be bigger than what we already thought than what we first seen you as, or whatever. Now, whatever. I was like, body positive, you're able to eat. But also too, you do sort of have to stay in some of a shape doing all these dances routine. And guess what? If you're over here gaining weight, even though we're over here trying to audition, and I mean like you're auditioning and training and doing the like choreography and all this other stuff, it's a little different. I mean, your thing is not really any different than anybody else in sports. Like, like I'm like, like this ain't no different than what we say about like Zion or Luca or something like that. If you know basketball, then I was like, those kind of dudes are like the guys that was like you think like everybody in the NBA is in shape, but you're not. And I'm like, but it's like anything. I'm like, yes, you could have like you could be fine, but if you're gaining weight, that's going to make you a little bit different when you're doing all these activities and athletic things. Cause I'm like, dancing is not easy. I'm like, doing the moves and all the other stuff that she needs for you to do is not easy. So you do need to be in like shape. You need to be able to be on point on things. And if I'm already like, okay, cool, you're 245, that's how I know. But then you come back and you 250, 260, then things are going to be a little different. You're not going to be able to just move as fluidly, or I got to change up, being like, okay, now I got to adjust for what the amount of weight that you pay now. But also, I was like, that's just me understanding from like a job and the business side of it. But from the standpoint of Lizzo, you kind of can't really just do that. Because you're sort of like you're, and it's sort of where you sort of get back in the corner when you're like when you let people be free as free get out. You can be, but the problem is that when you gotta tighten the ship, they're gonna look at you like, yo, you on some fake. Like, how you gonna be out here saying this, but then come out and be like this? It's almost and this sort of makes me think of like not directly, but just in general of like Ellen, how like Ellen had this look about her. We perceived her to be like like she seems like the perfect person. She seemed like a nice boss. She seemed all good and stuff like that. She's on the right side of these things and all this other stuff. And then you realize in the back she's a jerk. She an a-hole. I was like, she mean, and and it's like unnecessary stuff. And that's what it seemed like here, where it's like Lizzo, she seems so nice. She's over here like, yay, women and body positivity and all this other stuff. And then now people are like, nah, she a jerk. I was like, she be over here calling us out. Now the stuff that I think I was like is definitely more wild is being with where they were saying that she was like with like the dancers and stuff like that, and being like, touch them and do these things and stuff like that, and the girl's like, no, I don't want to. And then it's like she gives in the peer pressure, and it's like, all right, I did it. And it's like, it's like, what, you want me to keep doing it? I don't want to do that. And I'm like, yo, that's wild, because I'm like, that's sort of like a big thing of like, like not with just women, but in people in general, that I'm like, you making them do something they don't want to do, or making me get in somebody else's personal space, or somebody else being in my personal space, and I don't want them to be here. And I was like, that's sort of a big thing, and you're sort of making, and you're like, no, go up there and touch them, no, go ahead and eat that and do this, and it's like, I already said I didn't want to, and I'm like, guess what? You, as who you are, you can't do that. I mean, nobody should. And like I know everybody say like, if it was a dude, it'd be kind of different. It would be different, but it's also because it's Lizzo of the person who's also saying these things too, and that was also heightens a lot of this too. That I'm like, it's that person. Now, of course, these are things where I'm like, look, people could sue for whatever. I was like, we're not saying that everything these people are saying is all real and credible. These are just the allegations, and these are the things that are said and whatnot. And so we just only could go off of this one side right now until Lizzo comes out with her side, and then things happen and we figure out somewhere in the middle. But but I'm like, but when you sort of put yourself on this pedestal, and you start speaking for things, and then you do the thing that you speaking for, and you go on sort of against that, or at least the interpretation of what everybody perceives that, as well too. Because I was like I said, outside of like making somebody do and touch and all that other stuff they don't want to do, outside of that, because that, that's a different argument. But the work related side stuff is a little harder to just deal with, because I'm like, these, 2 of the 3 people like got fired, so that's already also going to be another narrative that people speak out of, like, the disgruntled employee. We all sort of been there, but then also too being like, oh, I'm gonna keep you going to audition again because I think you've been drinking, and it's like, well, how you gonna call me out and say that? How you gonna prove that? Or like, but like the incredibly long work days and stuff like that. I mean, I was like, that's a little bit hard for me to like to speak on, like, you working like crazy, like longer hours, because I'm like, you're not doing the same profession as like, like that's not a 9 to 5 job. That's a job where you got to be, you kind of can't just be like, all right, 4 hours, I'm done. No, you sort of, that's a little bit difficult to get into that. And also with the weight thing, because I was like, I get it, but I also understand too that if this person over here basically like, weight ain't no problem, you eat, you do your thing, and then they over here not letting you do your thing, and after you said I could do my thing, then yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of a problem with that. So, we're gonna see how big this story gets, no pun intended. But this is going, see, to me, this is like one of them cases, like I said, like the Ellen thing, it almost seems like also like with the Depp and her thing, it like not like that severity of like the Depp and her thing, but with that and like the Ellen thing and stuff like that, of like, it's going to be a lot of conversational type of stuff, because when we're in this sort of hotbed of like social issues and stuff, that it sort of is kind of like it's going to be basically like what you preach versus what you do, then also the work aspect of it, and that's a whole nother thing as well too. And I was like, there's multiple angles to that. I was like, I think if done right, it could be actually a pretty good conversation that people could have. But as we see, it won't. Anyway, if you like this video, any of my thoughts, my 2% in all this, hey, leave a like, subscribe, or tell me, what your thoughts or something I might have missed. But if you didn't, hey, maybe next time. But until then, peace. I'm out.